Hi guys, it's Laura again, and today will be another lesson about drawing inspiration from art periods and artists from history. Today we'll be learning about an artist you're all probably familiar of. If you guessed Pablo Picasso, you're correct. His identifiable style creates a name for itself, as Picasso is arguably the most famous and influential artist of the 20th century. He created 50,000 artworks during his lifetime, including paintings, drawings, prints, sculpture, and ceramics, and his paintings sold for $179 million. Le Femme d'Argent is the most expensive painting ever sold at an auction. You might recognize Picasso by his geometric artwork, as he is responsible for co-founding the Cubist movement. He was also a master of multiple styles. Picasso was already a master of realism at the age of 13, producing paintings such as the portrait of his mother and Science and Charity. In 1901, when Picasso was struggling as an artist, his style and color palette started to change with the onset of his blue period. In our last lesson, we talked about the relationship between colors and emotions. Here we can see how sad and despairing his paintings are, and we can probably guess how mentally tolling this period was for Picasso. In 1904, he transitioned into his rose period, where he contrasts the blue tones with warm red tones, as he shifts the subject matter from poverty and death to entertainers and people who didn't fit into society. Do you feel anything different from the paintings that were part of his blue period? This one is called Boy with a Pipe, the world's most expensive painting in 2004. He still retains cool tones, especially in the skin and the clothes, but the bright artificial colors in the background and his flower crown embraces romanticism and beauty. The rose period marked his end of his figurative painting, and he starts experimenting again, this time inspired by African masks. Picasso creates his most notorious painting, Demoiselles d'Avignon, in 1907, that was as offensive as mystical to the public eye. We can see the source of his inspiration in their distorted faces, and his simplified and fragmented style signaled in the new wave of Cubism. During this period, he deconstructed objects and analyzed them by their shapes. Picasso felt that an object should be seen from different points of view, and that in order to put a three-dimensional subject onto a two-dimensional plane, he would have to simplify and break his object into shapes. Cubism can be divided into analytical and synthetic. Analytical was the early phase of Cubism and used a monochromatic or one-color palette where natural forms were broken down into geometric shapes with different viewpoints. Synthetic, on the other hand, was a later form of Cubism and used bold colors, textures, and patterns to form a collage. His Cubism evolved into Surrealism, where instead of painting an analysis of his subjects, he used art to express his unconscious and deepest desires. He still attempts to depict multiple viewpoints, but his forms are less geometric and more fluid. Here is a piece called Guernica, a political and graphic painting of the Nazi bombing of Guernica, a town in northern Spain. Notice how he incorporates his Cubist style. You can see both the side and the front of the bull's face. This painting depicts the suffering of people and animals, and since then, it has become a symbol of the consequences of war. It took 70 years for Picasso to find his style, and we can see through the evolution of his artwork that a simple geometric line drawing isn't simple at all. Take a look at this image. Notice how Picasso reduces this realistic image of a bull into a single line. Ignoring form and perspective, today we'll be learning about how to practice like Picasso with continuous line drawings. Picasso did a lot of continuous line drawings of his own. Take a look at these. For our own line drawings, make sure to have a paper, pen, and an object of your choice. I suggest using something with lots of interesting details. For this example, I'll be using a shoe. Now choose your starting point. I like to start on the details first so I can warm up my hand. The key here is to look at your object frequently, back and forth from the paper to the object, and to move your hand at the same time as when you look. Go as slow as you want, and just make sure to keep your hand moving. After a while, once your hand is warmed up, This process should feel effortless. With continuous line drawings, the important thing to keep in mind is to never pick up your pen. The line is single and unbroken, so no erasing or starting over. This might be scary to you, but it's important to note that your drawing doesn't have to be perfect. It's not meant to be. Just try to capture the essence of the object. Outline all the lines that you see, including the contours and textures of the object. Draw any detail you see.